Hello, everyone. This module today is called Open Your Heart, and this is a gentle yoga module. So we will be on the mat, and I will be demonstrating some kneeling, but I'll also be talking about ways that you can avoid that. And starting out on the mat, and then we'll be standing up for the rest of it. And so it is fairly gentle, but you do need to get down and get back up again. So I'm just going to join you over at the mat and I'll go over the props when I get there. See you in a minute. This video is an excellent way to improve strength and conditioning across your heart, as well as alleviate some of the pressure on your shoulders and tension that we hold there. We do a lot of sitting, looking down at books, phones, computers, and maybe typing, and all these things contribute to poor posture, weakness, and tension. So the props we need for today are a resistance band, and if you don't have one of these, you could use a pair of tights, pantyhose, or any flexible, stretchy fabric. I have a towel, and I've got this folded out in this shape, just sitting on the middle of the mat. And I've got a heating pad that I've heated up. And I happen to have one of this shape, but whatever shape you have, you can just make it work for you. So you can heat this up. And I'm going to be demonstrating us lying down for about a minute, but I encourage you to pause your video at this point and take about 5 minutes just resting and letting this heat absorb. And we'll be lying down on our backs. And you can have this pad right across your upper chest here, or you can have it along the top of your back and shoulders, right where your trapezoid muscles are. This is where I'm going to have mine. And as you rest, just relax down, feel this heat. If your heating pad is a different shape, then you can just make that work. If you have something smaller, you could have it right in the middle or one side, and then move it to the other side. So just adjust that. And if you don't have a heating pad, you could just have another towel folded up right across here to rest your head and shoulders on. So you can just ease yourself back. And then put this pad in place. You can have your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, or you could have your legs stretched out and your arms just resting out to your side. And you might shift around a little, getting your back comfortable on the floor at first. Taking a couple of breaths, settling in, and then just lying here, relaxing, melting a little bit more into the floor. And right now, at this moment, I'm going to take about 10 breaths here before moving on to the next pose. But this is where you could stop the video and take about 5 minutes, just enjoying this. Now take the next few breaths To start moving around, you might move your fingers and toes. You might move your shoulders a little bit if you have the warmth either below your shoulders or above them. See what feels good as far as movement there. Then you might gently turn your head, turning your neck from left to right and feeling the warmth of the towel with you as you do this, or the heating pad. And then gradually roll your way over onto your side. And rest here. You might still have your head on the pad or your arm. Take 2 breaths here. And then make your way over onto your belly. And you can just move your heating pad out of the way, off the mat. If there's a towel underneath you, that's okay to leave there. And stretch your right arm out to the side at shoulder height, trying to put your entire arm and your shoulder down on the floor. And bring your left hand in close to your shoulder, palm flat down on the mat, and your elbow bend. And then press into that hand, letting your body roll towards your arm that's extended until you feel a stretch in your shoulder. And just hold this for a few breaths. You might be feeling this in your upper arm and your shoulder, and you know how far to twist over to still remain comfortable. And then roll back to the center, stretch out your left arm, and bring your right hand in just beside your shoulder. Press down into that palm to roll you back. Feeling a stretch now in your left upper arm and shoulder. Take everything at your own pace. Try to work to about 60 to 70% of your full capacity so that you can do some repetitions and not be completely done in. And don't let yourself do anything really painful. Now, if you're okay with kneeling, we'll come up into a child's pose, and I'll show you that in a moment. If you prefer not to kneel, you can stay lying on your side. Curl your knees in and curl your upper body down. And you may even hold onto your knees with one hand, rest your head on your other arm or one of your other props. And just stay in this fetal curl. If you're okay with kneeling, then you might kneel right on top of your towel or bring in your towel if you haven't been using it so far. Set your knees wide and bring your big toe mounds together. And you could use your heating pad as a little prop for child's pose. And this could be on top of the back of your ankles and between them and your glutes, or it could be underneath the tops of your feet as you have them down for a little cushion for your ankles. And then lower yourself down. You may be able to put your hands on your put your hands on the floor with your stacking your 2 fists and rest your forehead on this as you bring your hips back towards your heels. You may be able to just use one hand to stack your head or bring it right down to the floor. If you're able to do that, you might like to have your hands spread out. But really, you can have your hands wherever you might find this to be comfortable. Take about 5 breaths here, breathing into your upper back and letting your back around somewhat. If it feels like your bum is really high up in the air, don't worry about that. And now you may lift up your head and torso a little, stretching your arms out and pressing your fingertips down into the mat, lifting up a little. If you're not kneeling, then just stay in your fetal curl position. But if you're kneeling in child's pose, you might walk your hands over to both hands over slightly to the right. Lean your hips back and stretch your arms out a little, feeling a stretch across your upper back. And then come up a little, bringing your hips forward and walking your hands over to the other side. And then set your hips back down again. Feeling a stretch on your upper back and your side body. And then just bring your hands back to the middle and take another 4 to 6 breaths, just doing those movements again, or coming back into child's pose or stretching straight back, whatever it feels like good for you to do right now. From here, if you have any prop down by your feet, just move that out of the way. Curl your toes under, and if you don't want to kneel, I think you can probably get into this position without having your knees down. Lift up your knees and come up into downward facing dog. Press your hands into the mat. Pull your arms together and let this power send your hips up high. And take a couple of breaths here, just moving around how you like. You might pedal out your feet, bend and unbend your knees, or just swirl your hips around. And then walk your hands and feet close to each other. If you have a towel down, just take that out of the way. And roll your way right up to standing, coming into a sun breath. Inhale up, exhale down. And then roll your shoulders back, bringing your arms out behind you. Keep your torso and spine tall as you look straight ahead. Taking a couple of breaths here. And you can lower your arms to your sides whenever you're ready. Now come to stand in mountain, feet parallel, hips, heart, and head stacked right above your ankles. And then take a really slow shrug, starting to lift up your shoulders, doing it so slowly that you can feel every muscle in your neck, shoulders, arms, back, helping you do this. Bring your arms up or your shoulders up as high as you can, like you're making a turtleneck out of shoulders. And then roll these shoulders back in a big circle and down. Still doing this really slowly. Roll them back again. And now this time when you come up slowly, roll them forward and down. Pick up your arms, turning your palms forward, your thumbs up. And take an inhale, standing in this tall position, feeling really rooted into the floor through your stable feet. As you exhale, start to turn your palms down towards the floor and then back towards the back. And maybe even start to turn your palms upwards towards the ceiling. Coming to the end of your exhale, as you inhale, start to slowly turn them back. And keep going like this, just coming to where your palms are pointing up and then turning back. Do a few more of these in time with your own breath. On our last cycle, inhale as you come forward. And then as you exhale, turn back to your end point. And then see if you can hold in that position for 1 to 3 breaths before you turn back. And then you might just give your arms a nice little shake. Find your resistance band. Now for this pose, we want to keep a really tall torso. You want to keep your bottom of your ribs down in close to your hip bones so that you're not leaning forward or leaning back, or leaning forward or leaning back. You're just keeping these ribs centered on your hips, keeping your abs and your glutes engaged and your glutes wrapping down towards the back of your legs. It's kind of flattening out your bum and lengthening this low back part. Try and keep that all solid. As you bring the band in front of your hips, wider than your hips, and it's really great to have a bit of stretch here. Also, in addition to keeping this part of your body solid, try and open up across your chest a little, bringing your shoulder blades back towards the center of your back slightly. And keep your head upright with your chin tucked a little and your head moved back a bit. Feel yourself balancing on your 2 feet. And starting here, inhale up. And as you start to bring the band behind you, start to exhale, bring it down, keeping your torso really solid. Just slowly coming up and down. Let's do several more of these. Concentrating on your posture and giving a little tug to keep the band taut. And then right about this point, you probably have to reach a little wider because that is like the sticky point for your range of motion of reaching your arms back and your shoulders, moving in that space. After the one that you're doing right now, let's do one more complete cycle. And now take the band, move your hands to the end, and having your fingertips pointing down to the floor, set the middle of the band down and set your right foot flat on the floor into the band. And then step your back foot slightly back into a lunge position. So you're on the ball of that back foot. lift yourself up upright. Hinge forward at the hip, having a slight bend in both legs. And then reach your arms forward. And then reach your arms back. And you're looking for feeling engagement along the back of your arms all the way down. You're also opening your heart in this position. And as you come forward, reach your shoulder blades forward so they're gliding wide and your back is feeling wide. And then as you reach back, coming a little more upright, glide your shoulder blades back, reach back with your arms, broaden across your chest. And let's do several more of these on this side. And rather than rounding your back, keep hinging at the hip. And you might hinge forward slightly as you reach forward, hinge back slightly as you reach your arms back. But keeping your spine long rather than bending like this. Let's just do one more on this side. And then next time you come forward, step your left foot into the band and set your right foot back into its lunge position. Adjust your feet to be really comfortable and make sure that your feet are wide enough apart side to side to keep you stable. And then let's do about 4 more on this side. You might press down into your feet and lift up through the top of your head, pulling your legs together a little to keep you stable. And now step out of that. Set your band down and come over to the wall. Stand with your feet facing towards the wall a few inches away. And take your right arm across in front of your body, setting this arm down from your shoulder all the way down your hand. And you might set the side of your head against the wall, and you can have your other hand just leaning in for support. And just reach this hand through. Feeling a twist and a stretch on your upper back. And then bring this hand back. Switch over to reach through the other side. And hold this for about 3 to 4 breaths in total. And this is the end of our module today. I hope you enjoyed it and you feel a lovely sense of opening through your heart and easing tension in your upper back. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.